What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a very special edition of Let's Have At It with episode 57 again. My name is Ben Cornett. Now, I know it's getting pretty late. Well, here on the West Coast, it's only 8:47 at night, but I know a lot of people that watch are on the East Coast. It is 11:47 at night, so I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. Maybe you've gone to bed. Maybe you're still up. I don't know. Anyway, last night I was going to do a have at it NFL schedule release. Obviously, some technical difficulties. Had a hard time sharing uh, the video to the Bend Zone in Facebook. As you know, the Bend Zone is a Facebook group, and proud to say it is my favorite group. Not just because it's my group, obviously I am a little biased. Okay, you got me. But I like sharing, you know, everybody's stuff on that in that group. Football, basketball, entertainment, etc. So yeah, that's what the Bend Zone is. Um, you're also watching this on YouTube live. I put my banner up. I just literally put this show together like 2 minutes ago. So let me add that. There you go. Look at that right there on the bottom. There's the screen. You can watch this episode on YouTube at Ben Cornett 9015 and on my X profile at BennyBoy702. Like, subscribe, and share. So, that being said, what's going on, everybody? Um, if anybody's still up at night right now, hopefully somebody is. Uh, but you know what? Hey, even if nobody's watching, I'll just entertain myself for a little bit. Um, it's getting hot out here in Las Vegas, as you know. It hit the triple digits today to 101. So I do gotta stay hydrated. So I got one of these. Yeah, it's always good, especially on a Friday night. So yeah, last night I instead went on live in Facebook, but in the Ben Zone, talked about the NFL, the schedule release, and everything. The Bucks schedule, which by the way, very good schedule. A little tough at the beginning, obviously. We're facing a bunch of playoff teams from last year in the first half of the season, and our bye week's week 11. That's I kind of like that in the middle of the season. I know last year we had our bye week in week 5, where know it's kind of early for that. Then you got to play you know 13 straight games after that. So, but this time around, we'll get the majority of our games out of the way, and then have a bye week, and then after that, we believe play 6 more games down the stretch, and I think 4 of those games are against divisional opponents. So that'll definitely be fun to watch. There he is, Christopher Cole. How you doing, my man? Again, I think you started commenting right at the very end um, of the show. And I do apologize. Again, had a little difficulty sharing the show on the Ben Zone, but it is on the Ben Zone now. So yeah, check it out. I was again going over the Bucks schedule last night. Like I said, it's a it's an interesting schedule. It's you know going to be a little tough early on, but that's okay. Um, you know, this will show how good this Bucks team is, and I think it's a pretty damn good team. You know, everybody keeps saying that, the Atlanta Falcons, they finally got the quarterback, Kirk Cousins, back in March. And then, oh my God, you drafted Michael Penix Jr. a couple months later. you know, it's like, okay, you signed Kirk Cousins, big deal, 180 million, 100 million guaranteed, blah, blah, blah. And then you draft Michael Penix Jr. Now, again, I'm probably in the minority. I said this last night on live that the I think it was a good. I believe it was a good move by the Falcons. You don't know what you're going to get with Kirk Cousins, especially coming off a torn ACL. I know they said his legs doing well. He's going to be ready to go, but again, he's 36, and you're putting a lot of money into that guy, and you actually putting some money in, Michael Penix Jr. too, because you drafted him in the top 10, so he's going to get and pay for the duration of his contract. So it's going to be very interesting, and I did say that it seems like the Falcons are, and I think uh, even Raheem Morris and his coaching staff said it, in their press conference, when they were asked why they drafted Penix, was, they're taking that Green Bay model, with, Jordan Love when, eventually took over for Aaron Rodgers. They're hoping that, helps the Falcons as well. That can translate, from Cousins to Penix. But again, the difference is, though, this is Kirk Cousins' first year in Atlanta. It's Aaron Rodgers had been a mainstay for Green Bay, for over a decade, won a Super Bowl. Oh, Christopher Cole says it's not an ACL. It was his Achilles. Okay, it was his Achilles. So thank you for the correction, Christopher Cole. That's why I like fans like Christopher Cole, man. If I get it wrong, I got Christopher Cole, who's just very knowledgeable. He knows the deal. Appreciate that. Thank you, Chris, for correcting me on that. And some podcasters, some hosts, will not admit when they're wrong. I don't care. If I'm wrong on something and somebody corrects me on it, great. I appreciate that, man. That helps me out. That helps everybody out. Um, I'm not trying to be a genius or a know-it-all. So, there you go. I do appreciate that again, Chris. Thank you. So, with the Falcons, I mean, basically they're being, propped up and, as the NFC South champions already. And I just, even if I take my fan hat off, I wasn't a Bucks fan. I still don't think the Falcons would win this division. I'm sorry, I just don't think so. Um, because again, we got to see what Kirk Cousins can come back from. Can he come back from this Achilles injury? It's a major injury, and like Christopher Cole says right here, there he is. He says it's worse than an ACL in my opinion. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Kevin Durant in the NBA, he had that injury. He was out for over a year. So, he came back fine. But that doesn't happen for everybody. And, you got to get your motion back in your legs and your feet. He's not just going to walk in there and, at 100% Kirk Cousins. It's going to take some time. He's got to knock the rust off. Same with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, geez, the New York Jets. Talk about a team that's been propped up too with their schedule. They got like 6 primetime games. I even heard the NFL schedulers. I forget. I think his last name's Sharp or something like that. Was like, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something to the effect of like, he owes, the Jets owe us since Aaron Rodgers got hurt last year. Okay, he owes you. Well, let me just say this: that let's hope, like Kirk Cousins, for the Jets' sake, that Aaron Rodgers can come back. But he's pushing 40 now. And he's got to have a good offensive line. He really does. He needs, just like Kirk Cousins, they need a good offensive line. It is vital in the NFL to have great offensive lines, for the quarterback. Starts in the trenches. And can they protect these guys Because if they can't protect Rodgers or Kirk Cousins, they're not winning a lot of games. They're just not. Okay. Um, you know what happened with the Jets last year when Rodgers went down after 4 plays? Sorry, I'm seeing some popcorn. Kind of hungry. Jets weren't the same. They had to go to Zach Wilson, who they benched the year before. Now they had to bring him back last year because Rodgers got hurt. But it shows you how important the quarterback position is. But again, if you don't have the trenches to and the line to protect them, I don't care who you got at quarterback. It's not going to work. You're not going to win many games. But anyway, the Falcons, again, they're being the favorites to win the NFC South. I don't see it yet because there's still some question marks in my opinion. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Bucs fan, but I think the Bucs bringing back pretty much everybody, drafting well. I would still think they're the favorites to win that division. The Saints, Derek Carr. Look, he was here in Vegas, the Raiders. He's too inconsistent. Then you got Carolina, who, we saw what happened last year. They fired Frank Reich, 7 games in the season. Now they bring in former Bucs OC Dave Canales, who's going to try and turn Bryce Young around, turn this team around. I have my doubts just because, again, this is a very young team. The offensive line's shaky. Defensively, they're solid. Not great, but solid. And Bryce Young, he's going to have to learn, kind of a new offensive system. So that'll be 2 coaches in 2 years already for Bryce Young. That doesn't help your quarterback. It doesn't really help any quarterback. I mean, you got to have consistency at that level. Offensive coordinator, quarterback, that connection, that relationship is very vital, especially early on in, a quarterback's career, So we'll see what happens. If I'm a Carolina fan, I'm bracing for another long season. They might win 4 or 5 games, but it's more than 2 last year. So why not? Chris Cole, Rodgers has that hippie juice. Yeah, he has a lot of things, man. I don't know about that guy. I'm not a fan of his. As far as Aaron Rodgers goes, this is really his last chance. He's a great quarterback, but if you really look at it, this guy should probably have won more than 1 Super Bowl, or at least made it to more than 1 Super Bowl. It's hard to believe. I believe the last time he's won a playoff game was 4 or 5 years ago. And he's only had a couple playoff wins since his Super Bowl win. And that Super Bowl win was all the way back in 2010. Excuse me. There. It's good definition. So it's been a long time. In my opinion, I think Aaron Rodgers peaked after a few years after he won the Super Bowl. So I don't know if he's not going to be the same again, especially when you're 40 years old, coming back from an Achilles injury. Now I know with modern medicine, it helps, progresses the recovery time. But again, when you're older, those injuries take longer to recover. Any injury does. I'm 44, so I got my aches and pains. So, and I'm not even an athlete. I don't even play professional sports, but imagine if I got hurt. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Jets and the Falcons do. Um, I just right now, if you ask me who the favorite is in the NFC South, I still got to go with the Bucks, just based on the fact that I, you know, I'll say it, they got the best quarterback in the division, Baker Mayfield. You know, as of right now, and you got the best receivers in the NFC South and on the Bucks. You got probably the best defensive player in the division on the Bucks. That's Antoine Winfield. So I think they got the best offensive line in the South, in the NFC South. I know how you know horrid that division was last year. We were 9-8, but again, I think this team has a chance to at least win an extra game or two this year. 10-7. You know, I mean the schedule's a little tougher. First place schedule. Got to play the Lions. Got to play the 49ers. The Eagles and Cowboys. But it's okay. You got the Chiefs. Uh, so, I mean, this team's still going to be really good. Bucks. Are they going to be the best team in the NFL? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But I think this is the best team in our division. I would put the Falcons second. I would put the Saints third. I know the Saints were, runners up in our division last year, but they've just lost so much. Eventually, it's going to catch up with them if it hasn't already. And again, Derek Carr, he's just too inconsistent. I'll tell you, they got a great receiver in Chris Olave, but after that, their line's questionable. So I don't know. Cam Jordan, he's getting up there in age. So I really don't think the Saints are gonna be a threat in our division. Now, we swept them twice. We swept them last year. We've been them the last 4 times. So I think we're going to be okay. I know division games are tough, but the only real threat in our division is Atlanta. And even Atlanta is, it's iffy. Again, it's iffy with me because of the Kirk Cousins injury. They got good weapons around them. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. Defensively, they got a little better. But they did lose Cordell Patterson, though. I think he went to the Steelers, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I can really look that up real quick. So I think he went to the Steelers. Yep, he went to the Steelers. So in free agency, so that's kind of their Swiss Army knife. Good, offensive weapon and special teams. So they did lose that one, but they still got plenty of weapons. It just again, I question the quarterback play. We'll see what happens. I got I was looking at my Facebook, my message. Somebody sent me. Mushrooms are the sexual reproduction organ of mycelium. Meaning, if you see someone eating a mushroom, you can tell them to get it's midnight, the penis out of their mouth. So, This is just sending message, so forgive me. It is late at night. It is officially midnight, so I can get a little dirty on this show. So, it is Have At It, and I'm here to entertain. Oh man, so I don't know what else you want to talk about. Oh yeah, Red Lobster, man. What's going on with them, man? They're closing a lot of their restaurants. That's a bummer because I'm all about those Cheddar Bay biscuits, and man, I'm gonna miss them. Now you can go buy the mix and bake them yourself in your home, but that's not the same. I mean, that's just not the same. And the only reason I really ever went to Red Lobster, other than my mom's birthday every year, she loves going there, um, was for the Cheddar Bay biscuits. I mean, screw the lobsters, screw the crab legs, uh, even the shrimp. It was all about those Cheddar Bay biscuits. And I noticed too, like the last few times I went to Red Lobster, like, they're serving less and less of those Cheddar Bay biscuits. Now I know we've had the inflation issue, prices have gone up everywhere, groceries, gas, etc., fast food. But with I noticed like less and less Cheddar Bay biscuits were coming to my table every time last few times I went to Red Lobster. So, that's disappointing. So now that they're closing some stores down, filing for bankruptcy, it's sad. It's really sad. Now, a lot of from the reports, they're saying it was because of the endless shrimp. You know, it's true, but yeah, I mean, come on, those endless shrimp were good, man. The coconut shrimp. Christopher Cole says a few Red Lobsters in my county is closing too. Yeah, yeah, it's going everywhere around the country. Man, like I said, I'm really not too much into seafood, but that was one of the few places I would eat at. But again, I'm a Cheddar Bay biscuit guy, and I'm gonna miss those. You know, definitely gonna miss them. Um, it, you can buy the mix, but baking them, they're not the same. They're just not. It's like White Castle. They sell them in the stores, but they're not the same as you go into actual White Castle. Sorry, it's just not. White Castle sounds good, actually. It does. Oh man, but yeah, so that's wanted to get that out of the way. The Red Lobster thing. A little bummed about that. Um, Obviously the big story is with Diddy today. Whole video surveillance footage of back in 2016, he beat up Cassie Ventura, his ex-girlfriend. Surveillance camera in a hotel. Um, yeah, Diddy's fucked. Uh, it's like Ray Rice all over again. You know what happened to Ray Rice, right? Well, for those who don't know, he's a former running back for the Baltimore Ravens. Caught in the elevator with his then wife and knocked her out. And yeah, I mean, it's fucked up. And thank God for the video surveillances, cameras, you know. And it's about time. These fuckers deserve to get what they're gonna get, punishment wise. Ray Rice never played another down in the NFL. To me, this is worse with Diddy because he didn't just hit her, he kicked her, he punched her, threw her down on the ground. And, he's had all these allegations, with the stalking over the years, stuff like that. Again, those are allegations. Um, but the surveillance footage, yeah, I think it's the nail in the coffin for this guy. And, so I don't know, man. This world sucks, but, Diddy should get a lot of punishment, in my opinion. And what's up with the Scotty Scheffler, man, the golfer? Yeah, gets arrested this morning. Now, I would have expected this from somebody like maybe John Daly or somebody who's a wild, like, kind of personality. Scheffler, I've never really heard of. I mean, I've heard of the name, but like, it's just when I got the alert this morning on my phone, I was in bed. So anyway, he was arrested before the PGA Championship. Obviously, the PGA tournaments this weekend. So, and they're playing in Louisville, Kentucky. And just basically, so I'm just reading this off the CNN Sports. There's a fatal accident involving a shuttle bus carrying people over the course. People said Scheffler attempted to drive around a roadblock at the scene of the crash, and an officer was dragged to the ground as he tried to stop the golfer. Scheffler called the arrest a big misunderstanding during a chaotic situation, and his attorney said he will plead not guilty. The golfer was released from custody and returned to the course just hours later, where he played a strong second round to climb the leaderboard. So, yeah, I mean, what a day for Scotty Scheffler, huh? Like, you try to be above the law, because you got to get to your golf tournament. Then you get arrested, then you post bail, and then you play a round of golf. I wonder if Trump's going to do that. Do the same thing. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to get too political. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, so man, what a day. Scotty Scheffler, P. Diddy, what the fuck they call him. Never, it's never a boring day in news and entertainment. Oh, I was going to switch gears here. So I'm munching on my popcorn. Last night there's a show on Peacock, like a docuseries, called The Bronx Zoo. Now, it discusses the 1990 New York Yankees, and I was like, I'd forgotten a lot about this because I'd forgotten the Yankees. They had some down years in the early '90s. Talks about how you know Billy Martin passed away before the 1990 season. There's rumors that he was going to be he's going to replace Bucky Dent as manager of the Yankees. At least that's what Billy Martin said. But he was in a car accident, I guess, in December of '89, and he passed away. So Bucky Dent was the current manager, and just goes over the whole 1990 season of the Yankees. I've only seen one episode so far. I think there's like 3. But they had a guy named Pascal Perez who was a free agent pitcher from the Montreal Expos, but he had major drug issues. We had Deion Sanders, a young Deion Sanders, primetime, playing for the Yankees. Then they had Mattingly. We all remember he's probably one of the most beloved New York Yankees, of the '80s. And then you had a guy named Mel Hall who actually went out with a 15-year-old girl. think they got married too. And this guy was like in his late 20s back then. And then over a decade later, he gets arrested for sexual assault with minors, and he's serving a 40-year prison sentence currently. So, like I said, I've only seen one episode of the Bronx Zoo. Um, I'm gonna go back and watch it in a little bit. It's on Peacock if you guys are interested in it. So yeah, and Madam Web's on Netflix as well. I might watch that this weekend. Um, then I found out that on Disney Plus, Queen's concert from Montreal back in the early '80s, they're going to show that whole thing live. Well, when it was live, not live, but when it was recorded and everything. So I might watch that one too this weekend. Queen's probably one of the best bands I've ever heard. They're my favorite. Freddie Mercury, just it's an icon in rock music. So yeah, I would definitely want to check that one out. Getting back to the sports part of it, we're gonna have 2 Game 7s in the NBA, both on Sunday. Wolves Nuggets, Pacers Knicks. I think the home teams are going to win those games. That's the Nuggets and Knicks. In hockey right now, got it in the background, the Stars and Avalanche. It was 1-1. I think it was tied at 1 last I checked. If Dallas wins tonight, they go to the Western Conference Final. Florida Panthers beat the Boston Bruins tonight. They advanced to the finals against the New York Rangers. So that should be an interesting series. I think Florida is going to win the Stanley Cup. I had Florida and Vancouver in the finals anyway. I got my Golden Knights hat from last year, our championship. I'm still going to wear it until we have a new Stanley Cup champion, because technically the Golden Knights are still the champs until a month from now. So I will still wear this hat proudly. It was disappointing this year. I thought we would, I don't necessarily repeat, but I didn't think we'd lose in the first round. But injuries, and Dallas is a good team. I'll give them credit. So yeah. Well, I think I've bored you guys just about enough. So anyway, I'm gonna step on out, but I wanted to try again, do this show. I did share it to the Ben Zone, so it should be on there. For everyone who's watching out there, appreciate it. Yeah, you can catch me on X. There's my handle right there, BennyBoy702. And you're watching us on my YouTube channel at BenCornet9015. And then watching it in the Ben Zone. Just please give me a like, share, and subscribe. That greatly appreciate that. That would help me grow my video, grow my page and everything like that. So yeah, I just thought I'd come on again, try this little Have At It episode 57 again. So with that being said, I'm going to take off. And thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next time right here on Have At It. Have a good night and have a good weekend. Take care.